All right. Hello, YouTube. My name is CustomKits. I've been on YouTube for a few years now, but I've never went live. This is my first time going live. I used to post quite often, but life went on. I became more busy. Life happened. So now I'm trying to get back in the groove of posting more now that I've kind of honed my typical skill set, and I'd like to share what I'm doing with you all who want to actually see it. So if you want to join me, please do. I largely just do what I like to do, but I do take commissions. I have done those in the past, and the clients have enjoyed them. So I like to say that I can do work that people like to see. So if you're ever intrigued by what I have, I would encourage you to reach out. We can chat about that. I do model kits, I do miniatures, I do custom figures, 3D printed stuff. So I want to just put that out there before I actually start doing what I'm doing, because it's kind of like my rebirth on YouTube, trying to come back from what my channel used to be. I want to increase the quality of the content that I'm putting out. So with that out of the way, I'll start doing what I want to do on this live. So I've got these figures here to my right. I want to start basing them, put some base on them. So if you'd like to hang out and watch that, that'd be great. So I've got a couple of figures here. I'll kind of hold them out here so you can see them. So my general kind of my MO is any science fiction franchise. So these are from Star Wars, from the prequels or the Clone Wars. So here we have some Star Wars Legion miniatures. So they come in these little sets. So any tabletop game, if there's any kind of strategy game, you start off with these pieces. Like this is the leader. This one helps you move the troops. And you have different types of support here. And they have different abilities based on their cards. Not that I play the actual game. I have the game, but I don't play it. I just like to paint these little miniatures for people who do play the game. So very impressed with these little miniatures here. So I also recently printed these, which I'm very happy with how they came out on the printer, and also how they've been coming out in color. So these are Halo miniatures from Reach. Move these guys off the camera here. So I printed these off as well, and they came out pretty good. I've just been painting them for the last week or so, during the nights when I have some time. I think these turned out pretty well in terms of print and the paint. I like this one. This one's cool. Like kind of the dark blue color against the red, kind of a purpley red armor. And then this one's not painted yet. We may work on that tonight. We'll see how much time we spend on this. Okay, so I think I'll start with these since they're a little bit older. I've had these for a little while. So I'm just going to take the glue tack off the foot here. Off of all of them. We're just going to take the glue tack off. We can glue them to the base. So I do have some older videos on my page. If you want to check those out, I would greatly appreciate that. Mostly kind of reviews of some pieces that I have or that I made, or some action figures that I have. If you'd like to see more of that, just let me know. I'm more than happy to make the content that you all want to see. So just some background on my experience here on YouTube and the web, I guess. My biggest presences are on Facebook and Tumblr. That's just kind of how I started here. So I tried the live version of Tumblr, and it's really just not great. Lots of bots. The accounts who are the top like 3 or top 5 are paid from a third-party app. So they're not even artists, or they don't make anything. It's just people like, models or people like that just answering questions, which I feel is kind of unfair. Tumblr is made for artists and art. And if you're taking the seat of people who are using Tumblr for art, and whereas the person taking the seat or taking up that bandwidth is, just answering questions about their life. Like, I guess it's kind of like a vlog, but it's like they're not even from Tumblr, so it seems kind of strange that they're there. But that's just my opinion. So I'm trying to move over to YouTube Live because that's the more commonly used, what do you want to call it, medium for making content. So I'm just going to start gluing these figures to the bases here. A little drop of that super glue. Okay. We'll just rinse and repeat for these ones. It's raining here. It was hot, and now it's pouring. Kind of a nice little change of weather. The breeze feels good in this hot, kind of a really hot time that we're in right now. We didn't really get a spring, just straight to summer. And last but not least, get this one. Stay there, don't come off. Yeah, all right. So I am starting to kind of branch out with my the topics of things I work on. I'm trying to start to get more into the kind of like the fantasy, like knights and things like that, and creatures. So I hope to do some more of those in the future, because those have turned out to be pretty fun. I was letting this glue cure for these bases on these droids here. Shouldn't take too long. I'm going to get some of the basing material that I keep. This is just sand that I've grabbed from the world. If I want the color different, I just paint it a different color. That's really what I do. You can buy the fancy turf and things like that, but I just use plain sand that I grab from the earth. So when I base, I tend to just use old white glue, just normal white glue. And so I think I will do these droids first. Make sure they're fully cured on there. That's what we want. So just plain old white glue. Then I have certain brushes that I like to use that are a little more beat up, some old brushes. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that white glue on here, wet the brush just a little bit. I'm just going to spread that glue around. And I do apologize if it's kind of hard to see. I'm trying to do this in the camera, but I don't have a fancy web camera, like one that I could mount on top of a tripod to look down on what I'm doing. That would be great. Have two cameras, one for this and then one for on top, but I'm just not at that point yet. One day I hope to have that so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better, but for now, we'll have to do it like this, which I hope you can understand and also appreciate the work that's going on right now. Now we have that glue spread. Just going to take a little pinch of this sand and just sprinkle it on there. Wherever it lands, it lands. I'm not trying to make it look like a certain pattern or shape. Turf or ground is random. I'm not trying to make it look like anything fancy. And what's nice about using this is if we don't like how it turns out, we just add some more glue on top and add some more. So I'll let that dry before I go back in with more, which I think I will need some, but that's totally fine. So same deal here. Add a little bit of water to this brush. We're just going to spread this glue around. Get a nice even coat. So we can put that base on there. I think basing is one of the more fun parts of this. I love painting the actual people, but the basing's fun too. You get to watch it kind of unfold and make the scene that you're trying to do with the base. The base can really make or break the piece in my opinion. I'm gonna add some more dirt to this one. I saw the last one was a little barren. Just trying to add some more. Got a little bit more than I did last time. Can really get a good grip on that dirt. That's looking good. Grab some more of this stuff, rinse and repeat. Okay, and then this last one here. If you spread that glue around. Okay, cool. I really like these guys with the radiation launcher. I used to play Battlefront 2, the one from 2000, I think it's 4. I had that one, and I used to play just that all the time. I played that thing to the ground, and of course I bought it on my Xbox One when it came up on the Xbox store for that pure childhood memory, playing that. And I love playing as these guys with the radiation launcher. I'm not sure why, just kind of different, kind of a different class. But ever since I was young, I used to always pick up on differences in how certain classes or ranks of characters looked. And maybe that's what got me into doing this, just liking to create different classes or show different classes or ranks based on color and style. And the beauty of these miniatures is that you can do a lot and not take up that much space. So it gives you some kind of creative freedom. Okay. I'll do the same with these guys here. So these bases I actually made when like the plastic ones for those ones, they come with it. I got these little wooden discs from Hobby Lobby, and I just drilled a hole for the files that had a peg at the bottom and just put that peg in the hole. So then you don't even have to glue it. So a quick fun fact about these ones. So these are in the 32 millimeter scale, same as these Star Wars Legion minis down here. But if you have played any of the games in the Halo franchise, there's different forces of what we call the Covenant, different species that are part of this group who want to activate the Halo rings for a higher level of transcendence. And so each species is a different size. So we have the largest ones here, the elites. So they stand 8.5 feet tall maximum. So that's what I used as the height for this. But we have smaller species like the grunts here. They stand about 5 feet. So when you're scaling stuff down, I wanted to make sure it was canonically correct. And so I made sure to do a conversion of the heights so that when we print them, they will be the same proportion as they would in the game or in real life. So even if the grunt looks pretty small, it's actually how they're supposed to look. It's about the same height, about 5 to 5.5 feet tall, next to the 8.5 tall elite. I have the jackal too, which are only 5 feet, but they hunch over so they look smaller. So compared to these guys, they look pretty small, but that is their frame. You know, they're small, frail creatures. So I haven't painted this one yet. Like I said, I hope to do it during this live. We'll see how far we get. So I'm going to do the same process with these ones I have painted. I'll probably go back in and add some washes to this to make it look a little less fresh out of the ship, but who knows? Whenever I paint my figures, I like to make them weathered. I don't want them to look fresh off of the boat. I want them to look weathered and battle hardened. Makes them a little more intriguing to look at. So same deal. I'm going to put some glue down. And then we're just going to spread that around. I'm going to try to keep it on this top layer though. I don't want to get down to the bottom part. I want to keep that wooden color. She got enough to share to the next one, so I'm going to put some of that glue on here so we don't waste it. Not enough to really drop it. No, maybe I might be able to drop some dirt on there. And we'll just drop that just like we did before. But with this one, I might paint the base. I might paint the dirt. Because usually, and from my experience, when you're on, or during these games, they're on like a darker dirt, like a blackish brown, like you're on like very dark dirt. So I might add some of that color to make it look more like the games. Just always what I want to go for. I always want my pieces to look canon. While I do appreciate some artistic freedom, I think having stuff canon is pretty important so people recognize the characters that you're making. We'll probably have to go back over this, which is fine. Add some more glue and add some more dirt, which is totally fine. That's part of the process. Add some here to the grunt. I think out of the Covenant forces, my favorite are the elites. I love to play as them the most in Halo 2, 3, Reach. You know, those ones where you could play as them. I may get some kind of hate for that, but I've always just loved their look. They looked more intriguing than the humans did. Like I said before, I've always picked up on differences in ranks and things like that in movies and games and shows. So maybe that's why I like them, because they're a little more unique looking. But I don't know. We're just going to drop it in here. Get to a smaller brush to get to these little crevices here, which luckily I've got a smaller version of a glue brush. Go between the legs of the grunt here. Get the side here we didn't get. And remember, it's okay if it doesn't come out right the first time. You can always go back over it or make a new base, or it's never the end until it's the end. That's something I learned along the way. Not every piece will be just the way you want it. You know, you'll get better, but not every piece will be perfect. Here we have some of that, how that base is going to look. Sorry if it took me too long to bring this up. But here we have that nice dirt looking base. I think it looks better than that fake turf that you can get in the bottles and stuff. But that's just my opinion. To each their own. Adding some more glue here. Okay, so that's how they generally look like that. And look at this one glued up too. A little bit of water, kind of thin out that glue just a little bit so it spreads a little more even. Nice coverage on there. These wooden bases look really good. I like how these look. Actually, little chess pieces, apparently. They're for making your own chessboard, but I think they're a pretty good base. Good for a 32mm scale. Bigger. Okay. Add some more here. Get some fine pieces here. Touch up this little area here by the toe. Okay. We'll touch up this guy a little bit. It's got some bald spots on the base. That glue there. Grab some of the stuff that fell off. One of my basing secrets if I'm not using real rocks is glue, just like this spackling paste. and paint. Those are the three things that I like to use. If I want to make it look more textured, I'll add some of this dirt or sand, then mix that up, and it works just like the turf that you buy in the little containers, like for Warhammer and things like that, at a much cheaper price. That's my little secret I am going to share with you all now on YouTube. So I hope that if you would like to try that and it works, I hope it does. That's pretty much what you're buying in those little turf bottles. Is just spackle paste with sand and color. Granted, it's pretty good color and it dries the same color that it looks, but you can always paint on top of your spackle once it dries. I end up doing that anyway. I usually end up dry brushing some detail on the bases. Add a little more of the sand here. Fill in those little bald spots. And once we paint over it, you don't really see the bald spots at all. Okay. Add a little bit to this one, maybe. Actually, it's not too bad. Just drying that off. Okay. So the basing, putting the actual texture on, is done. I'm going to wait to put the base on this jackal. I want to have that painted first. I don't want the paint to get on the base and I don't want that to happen. So I'll let these dry completely before I start painting on them. Don't want to mess up the texture. So I think while we're waiting, I will start to paint this jackal. Just a little guy, very tiny, 0.87 inches tall, so very small. But that's okay, that gives us practice working with small pieces. I'm going to clear off a little bit of space here. So I tend to go off Canon, like I said. So I'm going to make this as Canon as possible. This guy's really small, so we'll have to work with small brushes and good detail. I'm going to start with the hard part, so probably like the exposed skin. I'll start with that first. Look at this kind of like a orangey, fleshy color. Makes an orangey, kind of like a pinkish orange Caucasian skin color mix with a little more orange in there. So I'm going to use bronze flesh tone. That should give me what I'm looking for. If not, I'll add a couple drops of orange. When I'm mixing paint, I always thin it out. That's good practice. The pressure. So I use a pretty easy ratio: 2 parts paint to 1 part water. This is just water. I'm just using a little dropper bottle. So 1 drop water. It's a little too yellow. I'm going to add a drop of orange in there. Just 1 drop. Okay, there's our orange. I'll use my larger paintbrush to help us mix. So we'll mix that right here. Oh yeah, that's a good color. Okay. So satisfying when you mix the color that you want. You kind of envision it in your mind and you see it pop up and you're like, oh yeah, it's all coming together, like Kronk. So I'm going to start by getting the exposed areas that aren't covered in armor. So my rule of thumb is when I'm thinning, the paint should be the consistency of milk. That's how I kind of do it. And that's when I'm also priming stuff with my airbrush. I always like to make sure that the paint is a milk consistency, it spreads better. So the exposed skin is on the head. So we'll start there. I've painted these small models before for Dungeons and Dragons. They are a test of skill for sure. These little about 28 millimeter tall ones. They're a test of skill for sure. They're difficult because of how small they are. But at this point, I'm more worried about getting the color on. I'm not worried about bleeding over to the other pieces. Like I'm not worried about the weapon getting this kind of orangey color on it because I'll just paint over it later. I want to minimize that, of course. I want to keep the right colors on the right body parts, but sometimes you can't help it. So as a reminder, I did bronze flesh tone, 2 parts to 1 part orange to make this jackal hide color. I think it's a really good match too. I think it's a really good match to their skin color. Okay, and under their leg armor, they've got that exposed skin area too. But they're also wearing leg armor on their thighs and such. It's really just their toes that are kind of peeking out with that flesh color. And if you're an artist, if you paint, you know that orange is a very weak color. So what that means is that it doesn't have, the pigment isn't as strong. So when you're painting it, you'll often see your primer come through beneath. So you'll need a couple layers of that color to really make that base coat shine. So I'm going to do that, a couple of coats of this jackal hide, as I'll call it. And also try to avoid getting globs of paint in areas. That is a big no-no. That reduces the detail in your model. And it will make your final product look not as good. You'll lose some of the detail. We don't want that at all, especially when they're small like this. You don't want to lose any of that detail by globbing up the details with paint. And I learned that the hard way. There are several models of mine that are gone, just because the details are covered with paint. But that's part of the learning process, Failure is the best teacher, as they claim, as they do say, which is true. Okay, so I'll touch up these claws a little bit more, and we'll start getting some of the cool colors on there. So I cover this up so it doesn't dry. I'm sure we'll need to touch up some of that flesh as we go on. So now I'm going to work on the kind of the body armor. So they have a dark purpley, kind of like almost an indigo. It's kind of a dark blue kind of purple. So for that, I'm going to use this dark blue. I'm just putting that off camera, kind of up here at the front. You can't see it, but the blue is there, I promise. And I'm going to add some of the water to that. Get that orange off my brush. And we'll mix these together, the blue and the water, get that nice thinned out color. I'll get a little bit on the brush, and I'm just going to do the whole body armor, that bluish color. And I'll add a purple wash on top, because they do have kind of a purple hint to that blue, but the blue is a nice base color. You can see that nice blue color. I think adding paint to a primed model is one of the most satisfying parts too. Watch that color take the place of the black paint. Feels really good. With thin paint, it goes on really well. Spreads well, dries well, dries fast. So you don't need to worry about waiting and waiting and waiting. Better to do a few thin layers than one thick layer and risk ruining your model. And I know I'm kind of just giving tips and things like that. I hope as I progress on my journey here on YouTube and YouTube Live that we get some regulars here. We can chat about whatever as we're doing this, and just less, not quite lecturing, talking about what we're doing. I would like to, just talk with people and get to know people who want to see stuff on my channel. So I know this is my first stream, so I'm not expecting thousands of viewers yet, but I would like to have some people who are normally on and just chat about whatever. I'm not sure how I felt about the jackals. I kind of enjoyed them. They're not the most interesting design, but I know they're a key part to the covenant. But I don't know. Their design never popped to me like the others did. but I think I like them more in the original games than I do in the newer ones. They just kind of looked a bit more menacing, I guess. I am notorious for looking or for kind of forgetting to get like kind of important areas on the model that you don't really look at, like maybe the armpits, right beneath the arm, things like that. So I'm trying to be very thorough and hit those spots. Just want a good layer of that blue. Blue is a very strong color, so it will layer pretty nicely. The black won't peek through as easily. Okay. I think that blue is pretty nicely coated. Looks great on the camera compared to what I'm seeing. It looks brighter, so I guess you can see the colors difference more. Not that it's bad in life, but you know what I mean. So now we'll get the Covenant Carbine. Just love saying that. Covenant Carbine. It sounds so good. That's that beautiful Covenant purple. I love that Covenant purple. Luckily, this color right here is a pretty good match to it. It's almost a 1-to-1 match. That's what I used for the Grunt's plasma pistol. I'm very happy with how that Grunt came out. Very happy with him. Now for the purple, I'll just do a little drop right here. Okay. And then we'll get a little bit of water. A very small amount, because we didn't put that much purple. It's not that big of a area. We'll mix that together again. Okay. Now we'll get this Covenant Carbine with the purple. So I'm seeing some places I have to touch up with that flesh color right now, which is great. I'm seeing before we're finished. My mindset is as long as you're actively working on it, you can fix anything. You don't have to worry about, oh man, I have to go back and fix this. You're still working on it. You can finish it. You can fix it. Just getting in here, these little crevices. There, that part under the chin. Let that dry. We'll do another layer on top. while we're waiting for that, I'll get the feathers. So the feathers are kind of a reddish color, like a reddish brown. So to do that, I'm going to take dragon red, which is kind of a dark red. And I'm also going to get some brown. Just going to mix that color right here. So we'll go a bit of brown here. And then I'll drop a red here. A 1-to-1. That's my ratio for this. 1 part brown to 1 part red. We'll mix it with the bigger brush just to help mix that. Awesome. Awesome color mixing there. Then we'll get our small brush and we'll hit those feathers. So the feathers are on the back of the head and on kind of the elbows. So I'll start with the elbow here. Just going to get that little spot here. Get this. You can see it better on this side. For some reason, these prints, one side looks really good, one side doesn't. So I'm thinking it's a function of how it printed, but it's okay. So here's that reddish brown color for the plumage there. All right. Some more of that purple. Now it's drying a little bit. We'll hit that carbine again. I'll touch up some of this flesh. I got some purple on it. It's right here, like the wrist area, or by the hand. Get the feet again. It's this part in the elbow. It's not supposed to be red. Touch up some of this flesh on the head right there. Move some of this purple before it dries completely. So here's what we're working with right now. I think for the base coat, this looks pretty good. All right, so I think I'm going to call it there for the night. So if you're watching this in the archive stream, I hope that you enjoyed it. If you want to see more, give me a like, join my channel, check me out on Facebook and Tumblr. I try to post or stream during the weekdays around 7:30 to 8 p.m. Mountain Time. So that's kind of when I try to post the most. That's when I have the most free time. So if you want to join for those, I'll make posts about going live on Tumblr, on here. If you like what you saw here and you would like to inquire about a commission, just message me on Tumblr, message me on Facebook. I'm all under this name, CustomKits. And I have a pretty fast reply rate, so don't worry about me not getting back to you. And there's no pressure. If you just want to ask about stuff, there's no commitment. I'm more than happy to just chat about, pricing, what I can do, what I can't do, things like that. So I hope to post on here more. I hope that you find this stuff pretty intriguing. I hope that you want to come back for more. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.